Okay, so we're going to call that a complete first pass. And we'll get set up for second pass. There you go. I have one more little couple extra final brush strokes there, but that's it. So as I mentioned when I first started, this can start to take on a little bit of almost a finished look, right? Maybe especially from where you're sitting, not as much as, close up here as from where I'm sitting, but because it's starting to look like fur in some areas, there's that temptation to say, okay, I'm done, right? Yeah. And so kind of what's exciting for me is to show you this next pass because, if we take a photo of this and compare it to the final, and it's dramatic, the difference that we're going to still, how far we can evolve this and how far we can take this. So for me, that's kind of fun. But I want to go beyond that. I really want to turn this, if I can, into something that just is, I don't know, almost, just grab somebody. It's kind of mind-blowing, if I can. I mean, that's my goal. And that's not this yet, right? This is kind of at the, like, well, that's cool phase to me, but it's not at the, like, oh my gosh, look at that, that's what I want. So as we build this next phase up, hopefully you guys will kind of see that, because here's something I do, and I recommend you do a lot, is I'll squint right now. This is when we're talking about squinting, and I'll move up a little bit, so, but as I squint and look at this and go back and forth and look at my monitor, my reference, and come back and look here, and I'll just take one area and go back and forth, and when I'm squinting down, if my values don't match here, what I'm seeing there, I gotta keep painting. I gotta keep adding layers to get. Now, that being said, that's of course assuming my values are where I want them on my monitor, right? Because remember I talked before about some of this stuff could be overexposed, some of it could be underexposed. But for the bulk of this photo, I think it's a pretty decent exposure, and so I'm pretty safe just squinting and looking and going back and forth. And I can see when I do that there's so much more light that has to be built up here, through the muzzle. This is, again, it's also, it kind of goes back to when I was saying, throughout this whole thing is I'm kind of reining myself back, being careful not to paint this too light because I had those mid-ranges that had to go underneath to help build up volume, right? So I feel good now that this isn't as bright as that, right? It's not supposed to be at this stage. Just like the underpainting was super dark, now we kind of go to a mid-range, and then we're going to build up real light, okay? All right, so I'm going to clear my palette off because I'm going to get a little thicker paint going, and we're going to jump into the next pass, second pass.